Welcome to
House of Whimsical Terror.
I'm Esther.
I'm Mary.
And we're speaking to you from Tucson, Arizona.
And we're telling real stories of the fantastical.
All of our stories are true or told to us as true.
And occasionally we alter names to protect privacy.
We also do that with locations for the same reason.
And today's story is...
The troubles with taxidermy.
Yeah, and we're telling it from your house.
Yeah, that's true. We are at my house for the first time. We're not telling the spooky stories about this house.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. Tonight we're going to go way back in time and tell stories of a house that you lived in.
That's right.
That was an older house downtown Tucson in the kind of older part.
Right.
The house, how old was it?
It was built in 1901, and it was an old Victorian.
Gorgeous house.
Stunning.
Yeah, we used to hold rehearsals there and things.
Yeah.
So it was a very cool house. We loved it. Anyway, this house was one that Mary lived in for a couple months on her own. But she was looking for a roommate. And she finally found one, this really lovely young woman who was a professional photographer and had been wishing for a job in her field, somewhere where she could, be a photographer and also make a decent living. So we knew that when you first met her.
Yeah.
And
so she was great. She was like bubbly and fun and fit right in.
Yes, she was. So what happened was a couple months after she had lived there, Mary, you told me there's something weird in my house. My roommate is seeing like faces in the mirrors, just glimpses of them, or out of the corner of her eye, she'll see like a man's face, or she'll be asleep and wake up and suddenly be like confronted with a face looming over her, and it's terrifying.
And I thought maybe it was her room. I don't know. I wasn't experiencing this at all. So. Yeah.
So she was thinking, we need a cleansing or a blessing
or something.
And I said, great, we'll do one. Yeah. So I met with the roommate first and asked her a little bit about the faces she was seeing. And I said, are they faces maybe of someone you know? Or she said, no, but they're vaguely familiar. But I can't place them. I said, so no, like maybe friends from long ago who passed or family members? And she said, no, they are definitely no one I know. And I said, okay, very strange. We'll see what happens. So when Mary and I do cleansings, we have like lots of happy music playing, and we start at one end of the house and open all the windows and doors and just kind of let everything bad. And we say anything bad or evil or anything that means harm has to leave. We do big sweeping motions with actual brooms to get everything out, and other things that we do. We sealed off all the mirrors and, anything that might have scared her or that she may have seen something. And we got down the very back hallway, and you could feel this sort of ball of energy. It just kind of really...
ominously negative.
Yeah. And it was heavy and just kind of stuck there. So we really all started kind of singing louder and calling on all the good spirits to help us, and, our ancestors who love us to help. And it just all went out the back door, and it felt calm. So then we closed all the windows and, just did great things and had fun. And I left that night, and do you remember what you did?
Yes. I felt the urgent need to go buy you a votive candle of St. Michael.
Yes. The San Miguel. Yeah, because that is my saint name.
Yeah.
And I've always been drawn to St. Michael, the archangel who chased the creature back into hell. That has always really appealed to me.
Really.
Yeah. And so I did. I got home. I took the candle Mary got me, and I lit it. And my husband, who was always early to bed and a very deep sleeper, not only skeptical, but worried about, he always thought something bad was going to happen. So I thought he was asleep, and I got in bed, and I was reading for a good while, and all of a sudden I hear him say, "Are you happy?" With that kind of sarcastic tone. And I said, "Sure, I'm happy. Why?" And he said, "Well, you mess with those things, and now look what happened." And I said, "What?" And he said, "It's winter." I'm like, "What?" And he said, "You've been chasing a fly away from your book since you got home." Mm-hmm. And he knows that I've said before that in certain traditions, a fly represents a trapped human soul. And sure enough, it was dead of winter where we don't have flies, mm-hmm. and I'm chasing it away from my book. So that did scare me and, mm-hmm. made me think twice, but I was still happy that we had done that. So things were better for a while, and then she said that she was starting to see them again. So I met up with her, and I asked her about things and, what she was seeing. And then I remember that she'd gotten, a job she was really happy about. And I said, "Oh, tell me about your new job. I don't know what you're doing." And she said, "Well, I'm working for the police department, and I get to use my photography skills photographing crime scenes." And I said, "Crime scenes? How's that?" And she said, "Well, it's disturbing, but I feel like I'm doing an important service to the community." Mm-hmm. And I said, "What types of things do you take photos of?" And she said, "Well, sometimes it's really gruesome. It's homicides, recently deceased people, suicides, things of that sort. And those are the hardest ones." Mm-hmm. And I said, "So you are photographing recently deceased people, bright flash from your camera. You're a light and bright person," which she was when mm-hmm. we met her. She was very light and bright. I said, "You may be capturing something and bringing it home with you." And she gasped and she said, "That's why they're vaguely familiar. I've mm-hmm. seen them. That's exactly who they are. Right. They're the faces of people that I've seen, but they were dead. These faces are, they're live people, like
animated."
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I wasn't seeing them. So
you were not. You didn't have any of those experiences.
No.
But you did have more experiences with her, which got progressively strange.
True. So, over time, her bubbly personality kind of cooled off into a much darker kind of personality, much more serious, less jovial, less, oriented toward levity and joking and being kind of lively. And progressively, I would come home from work and I would have these like mummified reptiles and lizards on the mantle.
What?
So this house, when you opened the front door, there was like a small foyer, and then there was like a drawing room, living room with a big, beautiful fireplace and mantle, right?
Well, she had a cat, so that's where they came from?
So I thought perhaps the cat is bringing these things in, and then she's just like putting them on the mantle for like whatever reason. And but they started to multiply. Like I started to have more of these mummified like lizards and things. And so I asked her, and I was like, is your cat bringing these in? And she was like, "No, I find them, and then I'm collecting them, so I'm putting them there." And I was like, "Okay,
oh my god,
okay." And it's a roommate situation, and so you want to meet people halfway, and she wants to decorate in mummified reptiles. I'm cool. I can for a little while, maybe, but there were quite a few, and her personality had kind of changed, and she was more attracted to like more morbid things. And so anyway, I thought it was her cat, and she loved her cat. She had a big orange tabby, and his name was Theodore, and he was a great cat. He was, an indoor-outdoor cat.
Mm-hmm, I remember him.
Yeah, and unfortunately, a few months later, Theodore passed away. Mm. And so, of course, she was very, very sad about Theodore, and I was too. I mean, it was very tragic to lose your pet.
Yeah.
And that, that didn't brighten her day anymore. So she, she was already kind of getting more morbid, and that didn't help, I guess. And so one day you swing the door open, and I just got home from work, and I look up on the mantle, and there's Theodore. And I like shook my head because I was like, is that Theodore? And I walk up to the mantle, and I'm like, I call her name. And I'm like, are you here? She comes in to the living room, and I'm like, what is that? And she goes, that's Theodore. And I was like, you had Theodore taxidermied? And she's like, yeah, isn't it great?
Oh,
and
no.
I was like, no, this is not great. This is not great at all. So I kind of gave way on the mummified reptile decoration, but the taxidermy Theodore was not gonna do it for us. And so I asked her to move Theodore into her room because I was more comfortable that way.
Oh
And
my gosh.
so progressively over time, she decided that maybe she should move, and she did. And
wow, so sad. What a complete transformation of a person.
Complete transformation. And I'm not sure what happened after that for her, but I didn't ever see her dead people in the mirror and stuff like that. So that was, good with me.
Yeah.
But taxidermy Theodore was just too much.
I think the combo between the mummified animals and poor Theodore was strange.
Yeah, I think it was just too much.
Yeah.
So she had wished very much for this job in her field. And I guess the moral of my story is watch what you wish for.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you, friends, for listening. Yeah. And we'll be back with another story soon.
Yes, we will. And we will meet you here at House of Whimsical Terror.
Yeah.